praegu on pikalt pidanud sättima. Aga kas nüüd on video? All right, people. Let's talk about hard things. So I don't know how many community members we have joined in this podcast, but we're very happy to have you. And I just wanted to say that we're really proud to have you as our community members. We love Testlio, and we want to keep working with you and keep providing you more work and more work. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic, the hard thing about hard things, is because building companies is super hard, and especially if you want to build a fast growing startup, everyone has like super high expectations. You want to exceed to your goals even faster and faster, and so there are like some real struggles that we have to overcome. And I got the inspiration from a really awesome VC who's like one of the, I think, most successful ones currently in Silicon Valley. Yeah, exactly.
He was last week in Estonia as well.
Yeah, his name is Ben Horowitz, and a couple of years ago he wrote the book about his journey in building a company from zero and selling that to like HP for like 1.7 billion. And actually one of our investors, Inti Green, was also part of the team. So he saw the journey. And so that's why we got this inspiration. And we just wanted to share some stories to show you what we've been through with Marco, and how we will keep struggling, but we will always find a way out.
So for background information, this is a weekly Thursday night event for the whole team in Testlio. This time we decided to share it because of the topic and interest we've seen from other our community members as well, who are very close to our internal team. So on the background we have, and you can probably see from some channel, we have our own team as well here listening.
Let's go! All right, let's start talking about these hard things. So, but first off, I just want to share like a couple of stories about Ben Horowitz, who was leading the company called LoudCloud. And LoudCloud was going through some really hard times. There was basically the economy was crashing. Their product wasn't very sexy, and so they couldn't get investors' money. And Ben Horowitz had an idea to get his company to public. And so he started like chatting with bankers, and he went on a roadshow, and he was just like, he was so afraid that his company gonna die out, and he has to let go all of these 400 or 500 people that he had working for him. And so he had to become creative and find ways to figure this out and become successful. And during the time when he was working with the bankers and like talking with them, he got a call from his family, and his wife had like an allergic reaction to a medicine, and she couldn't breathe. And so you can imagine how stressful it might be if like your family is always the first one, and then your company comes second, right? But there were so many people who were depending on Ben, and so it was definitely very struggling for him. And so just a very awesome story, and I definitely recommend everyone to read this book as well. But yeah, let's start with the Testlio story. Our stories are a bit on a smaller scale, but still. So first off, as we have community members probably listening to this story, I just wanted to share my personal story, like how we even came up with the idea of Testlio. So I've been a tester my entire career, and in 2012, when me and Marco moved to London, I continued my career as a tester, but at the same time, I felt that I'm not improving myself fast enough. And so I started looking for additional opportunities to improve my skills as a tester. And so my sister was the one who introduced me to different crowdsourced testing platforms. And I was just really fascinated about the idea that you could work with so many testers from all over the world, test apps together, and just get paid for reporting issues. The idea seemed like the perfect world. But after a couple of months, I was just frustrated as a tester because my time wasn't appreciated. So different crowdsourced testing sites, as you probably know, they don't value their testers. They pay to their testers on per bug, which means that testers are actually not incentivized to dig deep into the product and figure out like what are the real issues that frustrate our users. And what really became out of this community as well was that it was really competitive, like teams were not working together. And in my world, in my perfect world, quality is always teamwork, right? So I didn't see that happening in these platforms. And I started talking about my frustrations to Marko.
And I also remember you were trying really hard to earn that money because you were trying to earn it for your first computer, which is on the background in the picture as well.
Yep.
Which you did earn, but that meant me setting up some Zapier automated call system where an email invitation came in, and the Twilio then read this to you 2 a.m. in the night. Basically, a phone call comes in, and Kristel wakes up and then listens to the headline and wakes up, goes to the computer, accepts the invitation, and starts testing. And then quickly tested, found the small, low-hanging fruit, smaller bugs, and then came back to sleep. And that's how determined she was. And that was the problem of this approach, where you had to struggle to even get that small amount of work that was available.
Yep, exactly. And that's where I started showing my real frustrations to Marko as well. And like on Friday nights, we were just brainstorming, and I was testing the apps, and I was like, well, this platform just sucks, and like this could be done so much better. And that was the time when we saw this hackathon called Angel Hack coming to London. And so I decided to sign up because I already believed that Testlio could be something really huge. And then Marko at the same time was building another startup, and he saw that like a huge vision as well, and he decided
I saw the passion in Kristel, actually.
Passion as well, yeah.
Passion and struggle, so the two things a company should have in the beginning.
Yep.
So that's how the idea was born.
Yep. And then from there we basically went to a hackathon, and within 25 hours we were just hacking through the night. We didn't sleep, although I remember that Marko wanted to go back home and just sleep for a couple of hours and then come back to the event. But I was like, no, we can't do it. It's like there's not enough time for us to finish it. And then I'm glad that we didn't go home, because I think we got everything ready by in the last minute.
I remember it was pretty much every hour, starting from 4 or something. I was like, okay, let's go sleep for 1 hour and come back. And then 5, I said the same thing. 6, I said the same thing. And 7, I was like, fuck it, okay. Now it's all the way through to the end, because I knew I've been part of hackathons, and I knew you need to be ready for the to present, and but we were ready, independent of whether we got sleep or not.
Yep. But yeah, the hackathon went really well, and like out of 64 ideas, we were selected as one of the winners. But only 2 first places got the tickets to San Francisco, and so we were like, okay, that's
failed.
Yeah, we basically failed. Yeah, we didn't get the tickets. We didn't get the amazing prizes that Angel Hack was advertising, like $25,000 and like tickets to San Francisco. But luckily, I don't know if it's fate or not, but Marko went to. Okay, talk about it.
Yeah, it's all about the struggle and hustle, right? And I was super disappointed when you look at some of the pictures when we went on the stage. we earned the third place. So I was like, oh no, we just got out, like first 2 places got the tickets, and me, quite Estonian, I was like super disappointed. And you can see it on the stage on my face as well. But next day I saw the founder of AngelHack, started talking to him, trying to see whether there's something there and whether we could do something. And I then spoke about our relationship with Kristel, because we were a couple back then as well. And he immediately asked, why didn't you actually mention it? Because we were hiding this during the hackathon. And that led to them offering us the place, because they, as founders of AngelHack, were believing so much in us. And that was a lucky break, coincidence, and so much more. I mean, if I wouldn't have met him next day accidentally, that would have been happening.
Or yeah, if you would have been so hurt by not getting the tickets and not gone to the campus to keep working on something, then yeah, something else would have happened with us. But yeah, that's where the real struggle actually started. We were like on top of the world. We were like, okay, like from here, it's like it could only get better. But yeah, then like quickly after that, we were so pumped and so passionate, and we were like, oh my God, we can take over the world. And then we actually got in touch with a successful entrepreneur here in Estonia, and we were like, oh, like he has connections in the US, and we will definitely get in touch with him, and maybe he can help us get connections with investors, and we can start fundraising. And like fundraising was a different beast for us that time, obviously. And he was basically saying to us that this idea has been already executed. There's no point for you to do it. And a lot of people would probably be very disappointed by it, and not have the strength to continue if someone really respected and someone really experienced says that you can't do something. But I think that was also the thing for us that kept us going, right?
It kept us going even harder.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like you wanna.
Feeling that you gotta actually prove them wrong, and we've had a lot of naysayers basically throughout this almost 4 years now since the hackathon. But if you have this vision, this passion, then you got to be able to say, block this out, basically this noise, because you can't focus on that. During Techstars, we got to know 200 mentors, investors, and so on, and half of them basically said this idea sucks. Like, you guys, like, why did you even start? And if you listen to these guys, then we would have been here today, going for the next struggle.
Yep. But yeah, maybe you can change the slide now. What was the next struggle we had? There have been so many struggles. So at that point, when we were in London was super expensive, and we were basically living from month to month. We didn't have like any savings, so we were like, okay, we need to come back to Estonia, because I wanted to quit my full-time job, because I believed in Testlio so much. And then we basically packed our bags. I remember we found an Estonian guy from London who got all of our stuff delivered back to Estonia for like £90 or something. And we had like 2 luggages, and he had like a little truck, and it was like really weird, but we just didn't have like thousands of pounds to spend on moving. And then we ended up coming to Estonia, and as we didn't have any resources, and we only had our idea and passion to work on it, we went to live with Marco's parents. And the picture on the back is me working with Marco's mom and placing the potatoes. So
in the ground, yeah.
In the ground, yeah.
That was almost showing that we were earning our place to live and doing that. But at the same time, we were building Testlio, and really didn't have any money. And the next slide, actually, we skipped that slide. But there was a point where we decided, okay, we need to go to US because it's really slow in Estonia, and we need to start building the company there, having that experience from Angelak. But we had to borrow money just to get the plane tickets to US, and we didn't. I think we had the same amount, 2,000 or something, and that's it. We went to San Francisco, and well, that was the idea, is to go all in and see what happens. And if we die, we die. If something else happens, then we take it on.
Yep, but before that, like when we were just figuring stuff out in Estonia and what do we want to do next, we had this funny story, but I think not many of our internal people haven't heard this either. So Marko, it's your masterpiece, so go for it.
So very well, sort of embarrassing story, but I think that's why we're here today. And me as a I don't know, person who's doing everything and nothing too good, actually. So I had, as a designer and a coder and everything else in design, I always had to borrow a lot of ideas, and I went too far with actually taking so many ideas from Mixpanel website. We ended up getting
an email from the CEO.
From Mixpanel CEO.
That time, I think Mixpanel was already like more than like 70 people or something. So they were a bigger company. They had raised Series A, and so when we got the email from their CEO that stopped copying us, we were like, oh no, like we're gonna get sued. Testlio is gonna be like shut down, and like all of like our world just like
collapsed.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really funny that but Marko was actually working really hard on this design, because he only took the structure, but he built all these images and like the icons himself. And then during the time at Techstars, Marko even we had some tweets coming for Testlio, and then other Techstars teams saw these tweets as well, and they were like, "What did you do?" But yeah, we sent out an email to the CEO and took down the website and put the other one back on that we had previously. But yeah, that was like a really, really funny story that we went too far with copying. Although, yeah.
Original work, but too similar. So
yep.
Lesson learned there, and yeah.
Struggle is really, yeah. And yeah, then that's the story that Marko actually already covered. That yeah, we had to borrow tickets from Marko's mom to fly to the US. And
the 3S are actually a common term when you start off something. Does anybody know it? No? Yes.
Yes.
So it was family that we borrowed the money from, 2000. That's about it that we borrowed or got from friends, family, and fools, because the next one was Techstars.
Yep. Then what's the next one? What's the next struggle we had? Yeah, I'm sleeping in the back, as you can see. But yeah, like when we got into Techstars program, the accelerator program in the US, we felt that again, like we're on top of the world, like we're gonna be accepted to this to the best accelerator in the world. We're gonna be like so successful. But yeah, the struggle obviously didn't end there. We didn't want to spend too much money. We were like living with other people. We were just trying to keep the costs as low as possible, because we didn't know what will tomorrow bring, and we always wanted to invest like in the future, and so we were like being really, really, really scrappy. Like some of the companies that were in the program had like bigger houses, and like they were partying like crazy, and like they had awesome places, and so we were like really jealous, but we didn't want to get ourselves there where we are running out of money. So there's always been this. I've always been, I think, afraid a bit, but that keeps me going as well. So
yeah, we actually, if we talk about Techstars, there was 100,000 investment plus 18,000. For us, it seemed like a big amount of money, but we're scrappy still, and as Kristel mentioned, sitting with others. But going through that struggle, and then looking back, we actually needed that money in the end. And if we would have spent it, I don't know, 5K or 10K a month to living in the US, super expensive anyway, taking the house would have been exactly that amount, and we ended up being there half a year in one run. And then after Techstars, we were going to talk about different struggles that makes us realize today that this was all worth it, because if we would have spent too much, we would have been maybe alive today.
Yep. And then right after the Techstars program, which we graduated, we got this idea that we should start fundraising, because that's what like a lot of companies do right after the accelerator program, because the momentum is so high, right? Like you're such a sexy company, you get covered by, I don't know, CNN, Inc.com, whatever it is, and so you feel like you're like really going with the flow, so you should just continue the momentum and go out fundraising. And then we failed terribly in the first time because we didn't actually have a business plan in place. We didn't have like a clear vision for what Testlio is going to be and how we're going to execute on it. And we quickly realized that there's no point for us to fundraise. So that's where we came back to Estonia from Texas, and then hired Meelik and Karel. And then in February, I went back to the US, because we felt that, okay, we're ready now. Like the product is ready, we should still go for the fundraising. And so obviously we failed the second time as well. And we actually made calls from this room, as you can see, while I was like planning to go to San Francisco and setting up meetings with the investors. But yeah, we knew that like after I came back from the US, I was so like.
You were. I think that was the lowest point. I saw you. You were like totally almost on the verge of saying, okay, this is it. Like I can't take it anymore. So I obviously helped you through this, but getting so many no's. I mean, fundraising itself is super hard, and if you're not the salesperson who's gone to US or something with selling books, where no is like constant fact in your life, then it's super hard to get these no's. And when you're pitching hard, trying to sell and putting all out there, and then basically failing, that's the worst. And then yeah, we went to a vacation right after that, and that even like made it even worse, because coming back from that failure and then going to a vacation where you only thing you think about is whether the company can survive, because we didn't end up raising money, and I don't know how much if we had left from this Techstars, but that was the worst vacation ever. I mean, we didn't enjoy it at all, and yeah, wouldn't recommend to anybody.
Yep, exactly. Oh, yeah. So we're really close to the end of this presentation, actually, because yeah, like the biggest struggles we had were obviously like in the beginning to getting started and have this emotional roller coaster where you see that people don't believe in you, and then some people do, and then you figure out like what you need to do. But yeah, like after the vacation, we actually came back to Estonia, and we knew that we need to build a product. We actually even got a couple of paying customers for our new subscription business, and then that was the point actually where some of our advisors told us that we should push ourselves to the corner and like take the next step, right? And so that was the point where we hired our first salesperson, Michelle. Michelle is on this call as well, right? And we knew that like hiring a person in the US would double our costs, and that would basically shrink our runway really fast. And I think the lowest we got was basically we had like 3 months or 2 months of runway in the bank account, and to pay everyone's salaries and like the office costs that we had in Estonia, and that would have been it. But luckily, we got out of it, and
but we did, yeah. That was. It's always bad to, think about this in this term, and a lot of companies are doing it. Like they have 1 month left. What do you do, right? And we had 2-3 months basically, and we're super nervous. Michelle, he's like got us out of it with sales, but when we were in US, we actually had discussions like, what the hell are we gonna do? Like right there, 3 months, and if we're not gonna call out of this hole, what's the alternative? And then we decided on a backup plan, which is the worst thing ever. You have to start letting people go, right? And setting goals high and then having to fail and let somebody go is the worst feeling ever. But luckily we didn't get there.
Yep. Yeah, Marco put that quote on the.
So it exactly matches this idea, and Ben Horowitz mentioned or wrote this as well. And the bigger the company grows, the bigger the responsibility for people involved grows as well, and especially I guess for the CEO, founder, it's a struggle every day. Where can we survive? What's the next failure that comes in? Who's the next big customer who can go away, or what's the and so on, and that's why we it's never easy to wake up and say, okay, the world is a good place, because it's always there. This feeling, we're going to have a success, and then you can't really enjoy it because you know the next big struggle is actually coming, and that's really good quote.
But yeah, I think like the biggest thing that we've or I have learned over the past 4 years is really the fact that I take every problem or an issue as an opportunity, and I think that is the thing that has changed really big over the past 2 years, because like when we failed fundraising for the second time, and I came back to Estonia, and I was just like I was just like in the lowest point of my life, I think. Then I would have gotten out of it if I would have thought about it in a way that for every problem there is always a solution, and you just need to have this patience and passion and never give up. And I think that's how we're gonna finish our presentation today. Thanks for joining, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, then feel free to let us know.
Sure, yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Testlio!
There are a couple of questions from the people watching us online. So you probably need to repeat those as well. Not sure whether it catches it, but so first question is, does Kristel really drink whiskey in the office?
Okay, so someone has been seeing a YouTube video, but the answer is that I actually don't drink whiskey, but for the video purposes, I actually took a sip, but I hate it.
But the reaction was totally real. It wasn't fabricated.
Yep.
And the other question is that whether we are still planning to develop Testlio iOS app.
Who wants to answer that?
The answer is yes. But that's part of the one of the many struggles that we have as a company. We have resource problems all the time, and even we're like a team of now almost 45, or in a couple of weeks at least. We still have a lot of resource problems, and we definitely continue developing the iOS app. So good things coming.
And same with Android,
Absolutely, Android as well, and Too many promises.
We'll get there eventually. You know we do.
What about BlackBerry?
No. It's a no.
It's a secret project. All right, I guess.
That's it.
Any questions from this audience?
Audience.
No. Okay, let's wrap it up, and thank you for listening.
Yep. All right.